The one thing I would say is that Cooper does have this fetishization of kind of old ways of working, like hand drafting and descriptive geometry. I don't know how many people actually still have learned how to do descriptive geometry by hand with calipers. I spent a whole semester of my life every Thursday pulling an all-nighter for a whole semester with calipers tracking hundreds of little dots to do, projected orthographic geometry. And I do understand the useful of it because, it is the underlying logic to programs like Rhino, AutoCAD, just general thinking about geometry. But I don't need to spend that much time on it. I would rather learn how to use V-Ray or Maxwell, something that is, a requirement to in turn work at a lot of firms, which is something I still struggle with. So I would say technology, every year staying up to date with the profession because, I feel like the new versions of Revit and AutoCAD and Rhino that come out, there's always so many new commands and features to use that create a more efficient workflow, allow opportunities for more efficient design. That's the only downfall of Cooper Union, I would say. It seems to a lot of the older professors that it is a rite of passage, that they came up at this time where in the 80s and 90s, they were shifting away from hand drawing into digital CAD drawing. And, it made their workflows so efficient. They could, do a drawing in half the amount of time and iterate that drawing so much faster. But also there's kind of this idea that in every professor I've had has gone like, well, we used to have to draft that by hand, or, we can laser cut our models. So I feel like in the first year, they kind of force you to go through these processes to appreciate the advents of technology and how useful they are. This is what I think the fetishization is. I think it's like not hazing. Hazing sounds extreme, but a form of such.
Right. But as far as becoming a leader in the building industry, or achieving your goal as an architect, do you feel that you're missing exposure to more pragmatic aspects of the profession, such as management skills, business skills, stuff like that?
Yes, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is that like I don't know how to use Revit, and I would love to learn.
Aside from
like the business skills, like just basic.
We're talking about business.
I'm only in my third year. I know that in the fourth and fifth years there are more classes focused on that, but I think that I think in high school, we should start teaching children about money management, taxes, very basic things like that, how to be a person in society. Okay. And I would say that across the spectrum, I would love to have those business management classes and those classes where I learn how to theoretically deal with subcontractors and clients starting my freshman year.
Now, how do you propose that happens, considering that you have very limited exposure to the tools of the trade, kind of, as well as the thinking of the profession? Do you feel that if you did that from your first year would interfere with the philosophy of architecture, or would it be a good thing?
Well, it depends on what your philosophy of architecture is and your approach to that particular philosophy. So you can view it as, I guess, the very neoliberal capitalist way of thinking about architecture is that keep building because it will ultimately benefit more people. And then you can think about it on the more leftist, socialist, communist spectrum, which is that I want to build strictly in service for others, no money, I don't care about money. And we're not going to overthrow American capitalist society. We're going to exist within a society where that things are about money, that labor is an asset, time is an asset, and quite frankly, like we need to start teaching kids younger that that's the real world and not pretend that, they're not going to have to go work in an architecture firm where they're going to be making $50,000 a year living in New York, paying, half of that to their rent.